pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here.
God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together again today and to do the work of the county. Pray that you give wisdom to the commissioners as they make decisions for the county. We ask you to watch over the people of this county and the employees of the county government. We pray that you're, in all things, that your will might be done.
Morning.
Got the minutes. Really good guy brought this schedule. I also brought one, but I brought the minutes from the contract, the subcontractor meeting too. Something about what they list.
I'll make a motion that we approve minutes from last week.
Second.
Moved and second, we approve the minutes from last week. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. David?
Got one abatement. Just give me a second.
Where's the number at? What number is it, David?
2020-156.
Make a motion that we approve the abatement. What, for that, what is it again?
156.
156. There it is at the top.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I have the bills. Total of $384,000.
You got to sign.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
$384,348.97.
I'll make a motion. We pay the bills in that amount.
Second.
Moved and Jim seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And one other quick one to take care of. In Scott Township, the trustee did not make it on the ballot last year. She didn't file in time to do it.
Okay.
And no one was elected to that, or I'll take it back. Someone won the race and declined, so it was
Right.
open. And the person that had it before agreed to take it again. So it's Sarah Lewis, and I would just need a motion to appoint her as the Scott Township trustee.
You know,
Sarah Lewis.
you know,
No.
sir. You know, sir.
But I'll make that motion that we appoint Sarah Lewis to the Scott Township.
How, with discussion here, how did you get her name?
Well, she was the one that had that office previously, and then Arlene Mick, who's one of the other township officers, called last week, said she had talked to her and she was willing to do it again.
But we haven't talked to her to see.
I haven't talked to her directly.
So we're going to vote her in.
Yeah. Well, and if she decides not to, she can resign it or not take
All
it.
right. You want to second that?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Is that it?
I think that's it for now, anyway.
Go ahead.
I gave you guys
Just state your name and
oh, I'm sorry, Bill Matlock, River City Construction, here to do the update on the jail progress. I gave you guys a 5-week schedule. This is a schedule we use with our subs. It's not our overall schedule, but it's a working schedule that we use and coordinate. But it lists the different works. We got civil site work, we got the foundation work, we got masonry and structural steel listed right now. As you can see, line item 5, the sanitary sewer work, is, Victory, and, I don't know why he didn't X all the way through here. He did not complete in January. He's probably got into this first week in February before he'll have that work done. Storm sewer system, again, I wanted to mess this up. I'm sorry, I didn't look at it. Well, actually shows him completing by the end of February, which that will probably be pretty well correct by the 26th of February. Building pad, we're showing by the 8th, we're trying to get that prepped where we're getting ready to start our first 8-inch slab on grade work. The goal is mid-February to get the mason started. He's not listed on here yet. Well, he is, but he doesn't start till about the 15th of February, as you can see down on item 15. Foundations are ongoing. He'll be ongoing for this entire month. Pilasters, footings, so forth. Perimeter interior spread footings as well. Underground has been going well with Apple. He will complete his major conduits under the slab this week, probably. The remainder of his work will be after the low volume exchange materials put in, and the plumber's work as well. A lot of that conduit and piping is within that 18 inches of rock that we got to put down. That will also start here shortly. Building pad, LVC layer, we show it starting by the 8th. So underground plumbing, rough end sleeves, he's also due in here. Shows the 15th. I'm trying to get him here a week earlier. He's got some work he could do. We got some temporary facilities we need to hook up, so we're pushing to get him here by the 8th. Masonry, again, like I said, the goal is to get him started mid-February. And like I told you last meeting, the driving factor is by the end of August, we got to be under roof in the 8-inch slab area for the cell pods. So.
Dan, you got any questions?
I don't.
Jim?
Just got a few questions on your trenching as far as your OSHA approved trenches. It looks like to me some of them in question as far as how deep they are and without trench boxes.
Well,
Slope and
it's a little deceiving. The bottom portion of that is rock. About 6 foot of that is rock. He is supposed to be sloping the banks back on 45-degree angles, stepping them back. He probably pushed it a little on his pile and his spoils that close.
the spoil piles pretty
Yeah.
close. And
Yeah, so I will address that with him.
Okay.
The bottom portion of the rock, like I said, is pretty stable rock. They're having to break it out. So if he steps it properly, he should be within OSHA limits without any problem. But we'll push him a little on the spoils.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have
Anybody else?
a copy of that schedule?
The what? Yeah, I'll give you this one. You can have this one.
Here is yours, the same thing, pretty much.
Yes, I think the same schedule, he just looks and screen it. Mine also includes the note that they do a weekly subcommittee, subcontract meeting. Include the notes for that, kind of shows what change orders they might be expecting or things like that.
That's it. I appreciate the update, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bill? Sheriff, you want to go?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kevin Friend, Linn County Sheriff. Just to get to the numbers, total prisoners, we have 27. 19 of those are in-house, 8 of those are farmed out, 7 in Anderson, 1 in Bourbon. This last week, we had a total of 114 911 calls, 1,626 contacts in the jail. Total calls for service were 243. Of course, that would be Sheriff's Office, police departments, ambulances, everything going through communications. So a couple of cases of interest. On the 30th, Linn County deputies served a search warrant in the 200 block of 6th Street in Pleasanton. The warrant was served after an investigation for a runaway juvenile. Deputies were able to locate drugs, paraphernalia, cash, and a handgun. One subject was arrested but is not yet formally charged. So further information on that would come from the prosecutor. Last Monday, January 25th, deputies wrote and served a search warrant at a home in the 200 block of 3rd Street in Lacine, Kansas. Lacine Police Department, Fire Marshal, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Linn County Sheriff's Office served the warrant where we recovered a bunch of handmade explosives. They were seized and taken by the Kansas Fire Marshal's office. One subject was arrested during the event, and there'll be further information to come from the prosecutor. Any questions?
Ian?
I don't have any.
Thank you.
Gentlemen?
Hey, Mark?
Good morning. My name is Galen Anderson, Operations Manager with American Medical Response. Our numbers wise, we finished out the month of January with 65 transports by ambulance. And this week I'll be putting together the exhaustive monthly report that I'll have for you next week. All our staff, AMR staff that received the COVID vaccine got their second dose either Wednesday or Thursday last week. We had 2 different days. And just a big thanks to the health department for just being really easy to coordinate with and flexible to get our staff all through there. To my knowledge, we only had 1 employee that had more than a sore shoulder or mild headache, things like that, that called off feeling too sick to work, but no sort of serious reaction or anything. So that went well. We have been able to hire 1 part-time paramedic who finished their initial week of onboarding last week up at the Kansas City operation. And then we'll be scheduling their ride-alongs on the ambulances down here. So that'll be excellent to have another part-time medic in our staffing pool. He comes to us with several years of experience at another ambulance service, so that's always helpful. We currently have 1 EMT deployed to Amarillo, Texas, for a COVID deployment there to assist local operations. So they deployed out on Saturday. They flew out and they'll be gone for about 30 days, assisting ambulance operations in Texas. And then the 1 employee that we've had out on injury, we expect to be back in about 3 to 4 weeks. But in the meantime, we're just backfilling that shift and eating the overtime costs. And I think that's all. Also, I'm coordinating with Tisha on their vaccine clinic plans to see what we can do to have an ambulance on site there just for reassurance of the public. I think that's all I have. Any questions for me?
Yeah, if you would, before you leave today, I just need to talk to you about some stuff over at one of your buildings.
Okay. I'll be here.
Thank you. Did you have anything, Jim?
Nope.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jessica Hightower, Economic Development. I have a grant to approve this morning, a CDBG grant. This one is for Reno Repair. They are outside Pleasanton city limits. The application's gone through Economic Development Committee and been approved. They did get an economic injury disaster loan. They have proved that they are not double dipping with the grant money. So we have an agreement to sign it for that as well. They're getting $5,000.
And then what's left? What's our balance?
So after this one, it'll be 92,000. And I've got 3 others that are almost done.
So I don't think we can go over it enough. This is an opportunity for businesses to get a grant.
Yes.
Go ahead,
It's
explain it.
designed to help balance out the effects of the COVID-19 shutdown and the pandemic. It can either be $5,000 or $10,000 depending on how many full-time employees the business has, or full-time equivalents. So if 2 part-time employees equal a full-time, that would count as a full-time. And they just need to contact me and I can help walk them through the process.
They can contact you how?
Email, phone, either one.
And you're on the website, right?
I'm on the website. I'm on Facebook.
You want your house phone or anything on there?
No. I do have my cell phone out there, but not the house phone. Nobody answers the house phone. Yes, I did. Thank
What
you.
was the name of the business?
This one is Reno Repair.
Is that the one in the old Cox building?
No, this is not in city limits. It can't be in Pleasanton city limits. For this,
Okay, gotcha.
for me. Their address is Pleasanton, but it is outside the city limits, and I verified that.
So we've been making motions to approve those, or do we do anything? Or
What you're doing is entering into separate agreements. She's basically approving the grants.
right?
Well,
What have we been doing?
the commission has
So
to
many times.
officially approve it. The Economic Development Committee
Yeah.
is recommending that you approve it. You sign The commission signs a request for payment, a determination of level of review, and the agreement on this one.
$5,000 one, right?
$5,000, yes.
What company again?
Reno Repair.
Reno?
Yes, they do automotive repair.
I'll make a motion that we accept the grant for $5,000 for Reno.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Where am I?
He's out of Holiday Lakes, huh? Okay, I know you're talking about. Never mind. Really good diesel mechanic. Yeah. Yeah, he's really good. Bob, that's his name.
Stamp.
This is probably, that's it? Probably sign something, I don't know. Sign your pay raise or something? Are you done?
That's all I have today.
Does anybody else have anything for economic development? Tisha, your turn.
I'm going to see if people come into the clerk's office.
You're pretty famous, you know,
Am I?
in the health department business.
I don't know. I'm like, why? Tisha Coleman, Linn County Health Department Director. I first off want to start out by saying great praise and thanks to our emergency managers, law enforcement, IT, public works, clerk's office, and the citizens of Linn County for the support and our teamwork and assistance with COVID. It's continuing and it's continuing on, and there's lots more going on with it. So as far as cases, we are at 725, which is up 25 since last Monday. Total active cases is 61. Linn County deaths have increased by 1, and we're at 8. Linn County residents hospitalized is 3. Total clusters is 3. Testing update, we have tested 22 total so far since we started, 10 in the last week. And we do have room and time for many more per week. So
Okay.
the COVID report that we put out on Wednesday, we are looking at postponing that with your approval, as we are going to be very busy with vaccines. And I'll tell you more about that and all that here in a minute. It takes several hours to put out that report, and I just want to focus on vaccination versus a report, if that's okay with you.
Keep going.
Are we good? Okay, so you're going to tell me yes or no here in a minute. Okay, so COVID vaccine update. We are receiving approximately 100 per week. There is no guarantee on whether we will or will not receive
Did you
vaccines.
actually get 100 last week?
Yeah,
And did you vaccinate 100 people?
so I'm getting there.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just excited.
I know you are. Due to limited supply, Kansas Department of Health and Environment and Kansas are allocating, to my knowledge, all vaccine prioritizing to go to the health departments right now. So FQHCs are not receiving any, or at least that's what we've been told. Therefore, I will tell you, we gave second doses last week to our first dose people that we did a month ago. And those were healthcare associated workers, and they are now fully vaccinated. On the Linn County website, we have an online registration interest form for individuals in phase 2 to sign up, to be able to receive a call when the vaccine becomes available and in their subgroup. Our phone lines are very busy. We have limited staff, so I want to encourage you, the listeners, and everybody else. If you can do it online, that's a better format. Also to encourage people to reach out to people in those subgroups, especially your elder population, to offer assistance in helping them sign up. Not that we won't take phone calls and do that for them, but our phones are ringing nonstop.
Sure.
So we're just trying to reach out to other people to, if you have a grandpa or a grandma, or to help them to do that. So That's been on for phase 2. We've placed on the Linn County, Kansas website a COVID vaccine packet, which includes the fact sheet, the V-Safe, and what to expect after the vaccine, and a link to the consent form. To download the information and forms, we then want them to read it carefully, complete it, go ahead and sign it, the consent, and then bring that consent to our vaccination clinics. When we call people for appointments, do not send the health department your forms. We'll also be placing throughout the county locations, hard copies, papers like libraries or something like that, all that paperwork as well for people who don't have access to computers. Again, I'm going to encourage people to reach out to see if anybody needs assistance in filling those out. So with that, in phase 2, we are prioritizing the 65 and older subgroup right now. We have 2 drive-through clinics scheduled this week. One is for Wednesday, and we've been reaching out and making appointments for the people that are on our list. We have like over 700 people right now on our
That
list.
are on your list now, ready for shots.
For 60, and these are just really 65 and older.
And that'll be their first shot, right?
Yes, yes. And we'll schedule them an appointment, and then they'll get their vaccine unless it's contraindicated for some health concern with a health question or something like that. If anybody has questions about whether they should or shouldn't receive the vaccine, or because of this situation or that situation, we recommend that they contact their healthcare provider so that their physician can answer that question. We're not doctors, we're nurses. Let's see. So sign up online. And what's amazing, and I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but what's really ironic and amazing is the fact that every phone call we made last week to schedule appointments, they've been waiting for the phone call. They're anxiously waiting to go get their vaccine, and they're very appreciative. I mean, there's not maybe just a couple that can't make their appointment because of other prior arrangements or something like that.
Okay.
Many departments will be helping us out with this point of dispensing clinic, and AMR will be on site. And so that is why I'm asking about. Our goal for Wednesday, we'll vaccinate 120 people. And then our next appointment, we're going to kind of test and trial that. And then our next one will be to do over 200. So.
And that's all out of your clinic there?
No, it's we're going to set up a clinic at the fairgrounds.
At the fairgrounds? Okay.
But those are by appointment only.
Right.
Safety is important with anything, including our staff. And while we operate and when vaccinations are given, all are expected to be monitored for 15 to 30 minutes as per protocol. Therefore, everyone will be parked, they will receive their vaccine, and then they'll be monitored for 15 minutes while they're in their vehicle. We're not going to bring people in together. We are going to try and make it as safe for that individual, the people that they cohort with or something like that. They'll be monitored for 15 to 30 minutes, and then they'll be able to leave. And this is nothing new as far as the 15 to 30 minute monitoring. You do that, that's standard with all vaccinations and immunizations. So again, I said AMR will be on staff, we'll have staff monitoring, and we have epinephrine. We're all trained to respond. So with this new tool of vaccine, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I also want to encourage everyone to continue with mask wearing, social distancing, stay home if you're sick, and good hand hygiene. Any other questions?
So does anybody have a problem with her delaying you're just talking about Wednesdays?
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to brief us on Mondays?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm good with that.
Okay,
What else you got?
that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything? Okay.
Thank you. Just gonna get Jackie.
Grab him.
Didn't you?
What's that? Oh, wait.
Left.
Ready? Yeah, I'd like to start with,
Bobby to do a report from, that he wrote up on the codes for the year.
okay. Danny quit? He's gonna brief off of that. Go ahead, Bobby.
Bobby Young, Code Enforcement Officer for Linn County. This was a year-end report for 2020. Of course, obviously, 2020 was a very unorthodox year. We still managed to produce 15 new code cases. Other 15 cases, 4 of them have been resolved and closed. 1 has been submitted for and awaiting prosecution. There's been a decline in the number of code cases from between 2018 and 2019. There's a 23% decline in code cases. Between 2019 and 2020, there has been a 38% decline in code cases overall. There's been a 52% decline from 2018 to 2020. Obviously, I feel that the pandemic sit there and had some effect on it, but we are definitely showing a decline in the number of code cases. I'm attributing this decline to the fact that owners are voluntarily complying to the codes when a violation has been brought to their attention. Currently, there are 20 active code cases with the office. Let's see, 2018, we had 31 cases handled, 28 of them been closed, resolved, leaving 3 of them active, of which 2 of them are waiting prosecution and 1 remains active, resulting in a 90% resolution rate. 2019, 24 cases were handled, 18 closed, leaving 6 active cases, of which 3 are awaiting prosecution and 3 remaining active, resulting in a 75% resolution rate. 2020, 15 cases handled, 4 closed, leaving 11 active cases, 1 awaiting prosecution, 10 remaining active, resulting in a 33% resolution rate. The areas for the 15 cases are, there's 5 total for county. There are 4 through Sugar Valley Lakes. There's 4 through Tanglewood Lakes and 2 through Chaparral Lakes. There has also been 9 investigations pertaining to the reduction of waiver of landfill dumping fees, 2 of which have been completed and closed. On the sanitation side, there has been 121 inspections of sanitation systems, which shows an increase of 27% from 2019. There's also been a 73 sanitation permits issued throughout the county, which also shows an increase from 12%, an increase of 12% from 2019. The office has issued 21 sanitation installer license and 8 sanitation hauler license for 2020. That has stayed basically consistent. I'm still in the process of getting all the 2021 license renewed. Training for during this global pandemic has been a little difficult, but the office, this office still has managed to get some training in and meeting the requirements to retain the Class 1 wastewater operator status. Are there any other questions?
Are you happy with the process that, since you've been here now? I know you've been here 2 or 3 years now, that with the sanitation, I mean, we've had people, you know, that with the trailer house and it was just draining out into the,
Yeah.
underneath it, and then he fixed it by draining it out to the ditch, and then finally, remember that a few years ago? And some people's drained it into the river versus into what they're supposed to be doing.
I'm very happy. I think a lot of the citizens have come to realize that I am actually here to help and not trying to just create
Cost them a lot of
problems
money.
for them. Right.
Yeah.
So we've been getting some good response from the citizenship as far as getting our wastewater and other violations under control.
Good, good. I don't have anything. Did you have anything? No. Thank you, Bobby, because it's a thankless job. I know that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Jackie Messer, Public Works Administrator. We worked again last week with the Janik, the contractor with KDHE, or no, KDOT, I'm sorry, on the road safety plan. We got a partial report. So we're picking the 10 worst traffic areas. Now the next phase is they're going to give me a report on what specifics. Shoulders aren't wide enough. Signage isn't correct. So we're moving along pretty good with that program. Don't have a lot. I did have one that came up. Yeah, I think Bobby left. But Parker has requested that we put a dumpster there for them, for the people for CD. And the advice we gave them was no. We do cleanups. If a city calls and says we want a dumpster.
We've got the date set. We've got, what, 2 times a year we do that for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they wanted one all the time.
Right.
And so I don't think that's covered by our plan. So I said, if they wanted to look at, I had a similar request from another town. So I'm not picking on Parker. That's come up twice.
Well, it'll go to every town if we do it.
Yeah.
And
So we don't have that many boxes. But they wanted a box for constant use, and we don't have that many, and plus it would be pretty much of a burden. I said that they could apply to, if they want to contract with somebody to put a box out, that they could apply to have the fees waived for these boxes, but that wasn't my call, and that was out of the policy, so it would have to be addressed that way. So anyway, I don't know where that one went.
You want, just for everybody that's listening, explain what CD is.
Okay, the CD is construction debris. The problem sometimes we have with the city cleanups, we can't mix garbage in it, which is household waste, the regular garbage that we pick up through the compactor. If they do, when we do these cleanups, we have to take what we normally would dump for little of nothing in our cell and have to take it to the certified landfill that does the solid waste. We've also cooperated with the cities and even with some of the lake communities when they had cleanups, and they had a lot of tires, but they got to understand that, and we don't, when they do those cleanups, we figure it's better than the ditches again still, but we have to process them once we get them.
Right.
If they take it directly to Prescott, we charge a nominal fee for the tires, because the way it's set up now, and I hope to address it in the future, but we haven't got, I need to work through that solid waste lake region to figure it out. We have a machine that quarters it.
Right.
And then we can dump it in what we call a monofill.
We were cutting it out, the ring on the tires though, right?
I don't think so. That machine quarters it. Some people do that. If they do that and throw it in the trash, it's accepted in Arcadia. If the problem is, we quarter it. We use a machine that just chomps it in 4 pieces. It's pretty labor
Is that the
intensive.
machine Joe Maloney built? Is that the
No.
one?
No, actually, this is a machine that we got from Lake Region Grant,
Okay.
and they own it. If Coffeyville calls up and says, we have a mountain of tires, we want the machine, they come get it and they cut their tires up. But nobody really wants it because it's pretty labor intensive. Nothing, you can't do anything for free, but I would love to see a machine that grinds it up. But we end up cutting it up, or quite often, several times a year, we get overwhelmed with the number of tires because we only can have a certain amount on site. And we pay a company called Champion to come in and haul them away. The problem with that is the bill is $4,000 or $5,000 usually for them to haul away enough that we get back underneath our KDHE limit. But we do, Tanglewood once a year does a cleanup. Linn Valley, I think, does one as well. Parker, Lacine, Pleasanton, Mount City, they all do these cleanups. And as long as they monitor what goes in there, we're fine with that. But when the trash gets mixed in there because nobody watches, we're screwed. So
Yeah. And just for people that don't know, some people probably don't even know Prescott exists, an opportunity to take their CD fill down, they tear an old shed down or something, and they're not supposed to burn it.
Right.
And they decide to do it the right way and load it on a trailer. They can take it to Prescott and pay a small fee to get it dumped. Is that correct?
Yes.
They can also take chemicals down, leftover chemicals, paints and stuff. Instead of just throwing it in the trash like they're not supposed to do, they can take that stuff down there and drop it off, as well as tires. Is there a fee if an individual brings tires down and drops them off?
Tires, there is.
Okay.
The household waste, we have a program called the Household Waste Household Waste. I have 4 buckets of paint. I have some Roundup. I have some stain for a deck.
Right.
I'll take it down there, drop it off. They usually have a section of that noxious weed building where they put it in there and inventory it, track it. And then Joe Smith here wants to paint a shed. He don't want to buy paint. He goes down there and spots 3 or 4 buckets of paint on the shelf that somebody wanted. We give it back out to the public.
Okay.
And
But you don't do that with chemicals, do you?
no, not the hazardous chemicals. We had to pay, I think we paid $32,000 the year before last to clean up the chemicals that nobody wanted that you can't get rid of. So we don't accept the hazardous waste. Somebody got a bottle of hydrochloric acid. No, we're not going to take it. But the stuff that can be reused, we offer it back out if somebody wants to use it. And the paint, if it's no good, we'll spread it out on plastic or some other, sometimes wood or something. We can put it in the CD if it's dry. If it's wet, we can't put it in there. And we don't have to do that often. We do have people at the landfill who are licensed, have to go to training on managing that household waste program. So.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure some people had the opportunity to learn a little bit about it. What else you got?
I sent out that, it was just information last week, the contract for the only one that I could find for the different compactor sites. And it's the same verbiage for every site. Now, I didn't know if you guys wanted to look at that or have Gary look at it and maybe make recommendations on it, because it has not been updated since 1976. So I just sent that as information to go from there.
Gary, you want to take a look at it?
I would be happy to.
He's in a good mood today.
Oh, good.
What's our goal in looking at what we want to do?
We wanted to change it, right? Update it.
Well, obviously,
Update it for
yeah,
sure.
some of it's some of it says we are, for example, the paying rent for the sites. That was a 15-year contract. I think 1991, that was,
Some of the dollar amounts have been updated since those original ones, but I'm guessing it was just an agreement between the county and the city that we didn't have copies of, because I always made it for you.
yeah, and I would like to look at some of it, like, for example, we have to provide a phone, and we've been doing that with landline, but nobody uses landline anymore, so we've been putting little cell phones down there. So just clarification of some of them, like, for example, the buildings. If we're going to go in there and prioritizing update them, we originally provided the building, the fencing, and the equipment. They provided the labor. So I just think it needs to be looked at and cleaned up. And
Gotcha.
we also I asked Jessica and Sean to work together to come up with some proposals, maybe some workshops to bring forward on possible park use.
Is that your next workshop you're wanting? I'm only wanting. So is that your next topic going to be?
We can do that.
Either that or noxious weed stuff.
Yeah, either one. We're ready on either one of them. But I wanted to give them a couple of weeks to brainstorm ideas, talk to people, because the horse trail, even though it's there, I asked Sean and he said it's rarely used if all. But I would imagine if we came up and said, well, we want to look at different use for it, then there'd be a lot of interest generated back. So
Sure.
that's going to have to be weeded through. But there are 3 or 4 or 5 different ideas out there. I'm just asking Jessica and Sean to get together, find these ideas, find interested groups, and then present a plan or something.
Okay.
On the noxious weed, last week, David started working on clarification of that. So we can probably come next week on that even. He's got the stuff ready to go. We're also working on, which in the next couple of weeks, I hope to be able to let you know where we're going to be working on asphalt this year, what our plan is, and what our program is going to be for the next 3 or 4 years. We're going to have
Did you guys, and I'd ask you a long time ago, I don't know if you had time or forgot about it. What's the actual cost of chip and seal per mile on a gravel road?
okay. I know you've asked that, and I've asked, but I wouldn't venture a guess off the top of my head. I'd probably tell you wrong. So let me look at it again. We are having trouble with the pug mill. The thing's over 40 years old. We've got the gears burned up in the gearbox, and they don't even make those gears anymore. So we're working to try to fix it right now. So we talked about the Dawson house, and I had originally planned to move that washer and dryer out to take it to the health department, reutilize those. Do I leave those now, or can I move them?
For now, leave it. We're gonna talk about that house later.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to get in housing anymore. I know we've been talking about that old county attorney building. I went over there and looked at that building a little bit. Do you want me to present that or wait till later, or?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. This I swiped off the wall. It's a floor plan, a better floor plan of what actually, how that's laid out. Quite honestly.
Have you seen
And then I took pictures of the condition over there, so we know. Have you ever make it in there?
Yeah, I went in there. I haven't went underneath it yet, though. I'd like to look underneath the little structure.
Well, I've got some photographs of the underneath.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Not in there, but I have.
What do you think of it? I mean, does it look?
At all. What I honestly think is, of course, somebody gets shot in certain quarters. I also had, just to try to help move things along a little bit, I talked to the assessors, and they went through that building the other day.
Did they finally make it over there?
They didn't like it. Well, in their defense, they didn't like it because nobody's been in there forever, and it's pretty much a
You
mess.
gotta be open. I mean, you gotta be open-minded.
Yes. So, well, that's where I was going to come with. just a suggestion or idea. I think that everything, like Gary said, evolves around this building. If this building is going away, I would propose that if I had a budget, that I could take maybe say $10,000 budget, renovate that building. And once it's cleaned up, it needs carpet, it needs paint, it needs the doors fixed. But those are just repairs. I mean, it hadn't been updated since they built it. And if I could do that, make sure that roof is not leaking. At that point, either offer it to the assessors or Public Works would go into it.
Okay.
And then this one could come down. And then that would leave the district court open for whatever, for the assessors or, but I think if you look at that map on the work map, I'm not so sure we couldn't put, quite honestly, I think we could put, you got an office and then Courtney, Joyce, probably mine, and then Andy and Bobby in there, and mapping on that end. I don't see why we couldn't get them all.
And I'm cool with whatever we want to do. I just think I definitely just want to utilize the building. I mean, from what,
I could go in there. Now, going in there, obviously, there's been damage in the past.
right, that's all
Like here's the
cosmetic.
well,
It's,
nasty, moldy old place. I was up in that attic. I saw areas that could have been mold at one time from a roof leak, or could have been, see if I didn't bring up one of those.
There's some more pictures over there.
Oh, okay. I think there was a roof leak problem at some point in time. But I think the building would be utilized. I wouldn't throw it away.
my idea would be to, whatever, when we sell the Dawson's houses, utilize those funds out of that to help remodel that. That was kind of the way I was
We could
leaning.
do that, and like I said, I don't care. We could rehab it and then pass the assessor once it's cleaned up and new. You guys want it, if they say no, we'll move over there. I don't care. I can bring the roof.
I just-
have pictures. I think
I was gonna bring that double wide we had back for you.
that one, so I just looked at that to review it. Like I said, I stuck my head up in the attic. It's basically a stick built. It's a modular, not a double wide. And
So you think it's salvageable?
oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'd be willing to go in it. I don't care. If it's going to save us some money, I'll go.
Okay.
And I think there's plenty of space there.
Yeah, I think, $5,000 would get that thing, up and going easy.
Well, I was a little higher on it because I was going to do a roof and carpet.
He's not.
And if we
trying to
decide,
paint.
I wanted to do the roof because I think it's still, if that's the area that had a leak in the past, and plus, if you take this building down, we could take the sinks, the toilets, the doors, so we could save a lot of money by,
Definitely get the thing up to par. I think that,
yeah, and use if we're going over there, we could come in here and salvage material that could be those toilets in there, one of them's only about 6 months old. And so we could reutilize material. The doors in there are solid core doors because we were trying to isolate the sound. We could move them over there. So I think however people want it, I'm fine. And the air conditioning and heating system is not bad. I know not everybody agrees with me, but I think it's a viable option if you want to do it.
Okay, good.
All right.
Hey, did you have any executive session time today?
No.
Good for you. We're on a roll, man. Okay, Gary, let's talk about the Dawson house.
If the county commissioners wish to sell any real estate over $50,000 in value, here's the process. First of all, there must be unanimous vote by the commissioners that they intend to sell it. Step one. Next step, we publish it 3 times. There are some specific things that have to be in the notice that I would draft it and we publish it 3 times. Then we have to wait 45 days to give an opportunity for a petition against the sale.
Yeah.
If there is a sufficient petition against the sale, by sufficient, it means it has to have 2% of the voters. If that occurs, then we have to put it up for an election before we sell it. But if that does not occur, then we can proceed to sell it. The statute says we can sell it to the highest and best bid, but we can reserve the right to reject all bids.
Sure.
So we put it out for sealed bids is the way or an auction, either one. You can do it either way. You can auction it or put it out for sealed bids, but have a reserve in mind that you're not going to sell it below.
Do we have to tell?
No.
Okay.
If you reject all bids in that round, then the statute says you can sell it in a manner that you deem prudent.
Yeah.
So you could just go out and find a buyer and sell it like you would any other real estate deal. There is also, if you don't like that approach, you can create an alternate policy and put it in place. And the alternate policy has to basically be put in place with the waiting period for a petition against it and so forth. But you can create a different policy and put it in place. It'd be a permanent policy. It wouldn't just apply to that house. But so if you want to sell this house, you need to go on record with a vote that all 3 of you want.
We already did that.
Okay. Well, did you vote on it?
We did.
I believe that was in last week. Let me look back.
Okay.
Week before, I think.
Okay. Then you just need to instruct me to how you're gonna sell it. Were you gonna do it by auction or sealed bid? And let me put the notice together and get it published.
What's the pros and cons of auction or bid? I mean, why would we not do one or the other? Rick,
Well, I mean, selling government property, normally
Sealed.
it's a sealed bid for real estate. I'm not talking about foreclosed property. We're talking about, we got a piece of property, we're still selling it, we sell it to the highest and best bid, sealed bid, and it comes that way. Because
if you're gonna do an auction, you really need to have people somehow, I mean, if you got a sealed bid, you got it in writing.
Yeah.
But if you're doing an auction, you need some kind of pre-qualification or something.
Yeah.
Oh, for like the pre-approval?
Yeah, because if somebody comes in and just, bids, and then everybody goes home, and then they're not good for the bid, what are you gonna do, So I think that sealed bids are a better deal.
I think in this case, I'm always for an auction, of course. But I think in this case, with being a government property that we're selling, that's what we're doing. We're selling assets that belong to the public. We're going to sell that property off. And we sell it. Give us your highest and best bid. It's sealed. We'll open it. We don't take any internet emails or any of that stuff. It's open in front of everybody, and who has the best bid, if it is what we want or higher, then we sell it to them. Put your 10 cents in.
Yeah, you said everything. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
I think that's the safest way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week in the minutes, I have that Rick moved to sell the Dawson house to the highest bidder. Jim seconded, and the motion passed 3-0.
Okay.
And then stated
We don't
that,
put any dollar figure. All we do is just, we could reject any and all bids.
Right. So publish it.
I'll prepare the notice. I'll let you look at the notice next week before we publish it, and then we'll publish it starting.
And I know some people are listening or wanting to make an offer or bid on it. The process, you just kind of heard it. If you heard it in here, it's publish 3 times, wait 45 days, and we'll sell it to the best and highest bid, sealed bid. And there'll be more instructions than that, but that's the way we'll do
Is
it.
it public knowledge of what we've got in it anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Are we able to say?
They just need to do their due diligence.
I think I can't remember the price we paid for it, but that should be.
400.
But I think we got a deal.
Don't say that.
But But my understanding, you want, all bids must be in writing. You're not gonna accept email bids. You're not gonna accept, telephone bids.
Nope.
Everything in writing, signed by the.
Sealed and delivered to the clerk's office by a certain date, right?
Is there gotta be a pre-approval letter for anything like that?
I think you got it in writing like that, that's probably not necessary. Because if you go to your first one and you know, craps that, then you just go to the second, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Will there be any showing of the house and then?
That's the other thing I was saying, we need to.
Showing at request, by request.
That if somebody wants to view the house, they need to contact what Jackie.
Jackie, yeah,
Or Dave.
or somebody. Show, make Jackie show it, cause you know,
I thought an open house kind of situation.
Sure.
I think it'd be better to do it.
just don't have him bake the cookies.
And then there should be no problem with taking the washer and dryer out of there.
Well,
I think you'll leave it in.
I think
Leave it in?
Yeah.
we offer it with the washer and dryer there, but if the buyer says we don't need the washer and dryer, include that in their bid.
Is there any material in the garage we need to get out?
Yeah, we have material in there that we were gonna use for the remodel.
Okay.
And we'll need a list of what other appliances are in there. I think there's a range.
You know, small disclosure, what, yeah.
So is Jackie, are we okay with Jackie doing the showing and are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it because I don't have to do it.
So do we need a motion on any of that?
At this point, I just need to prepare the notice.
Yeah.
I'll bring it in next week for you to look at, and I'll
Okay.
try to have some of the procedures listed out. And, if it looks okay, then you can make
Will that include photograph or anything that I need to get to you, or you just, it's gonna be seen in the upcoming?
it'll just be an ad, just in the paper. I don't think we'd want to publish any photos or anything.
Picture of you. See this man? All right. Are you done now? All right. Hey, Burton, we are on a roll today. We have no executive sessions. You going to run that?
Maybe a short one.
No? Come on up.
I did have one thing real quick.
Okay.
Remember those trailers I kept talking about, those recycle trailers?
Mm-hmm.
Got a hold of them, got them for steel.
Okay.
So
Good.
we're gonna pick 2 of them.
All right.
And plus, supply of those boxes that are in there.
Oh, good.
Probably about, new, it's probably about 40,000, I'm gonna say 2,000 total.
Good.
So, McPherson County, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have, excuse me, much this week, just kind of still working over there. I think things are getting better all the time as far as we put in a lot of work this week on opening up lines of communication with the law enforcement agencies and communicating my expectations and kind of getting together with them on how to get these things done. So we're there's been hiccups here and there, but all in all, I think I'm feeling pretty positive about how things are going. I do have, and this, I think my last one on this subject, maybe a 5 or 10 minute executive session for non-elected personnel to review a contract I've got here.
Okay. Is that all you got?
That's all I've got,
Okay.
unless you guys have any questions.
No. Did you have anything for executive session?
Nope.
And do you have anything else?
I had several things to want to go through again.
Okay.
I've got a couple things left to do.
Okay, so let's knock this out real quick.
Are they are they?
No, they're all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I've talked to them. I'll make a motion. We go into executive session for 10 minutes for personnel with Bert Hardy.
I'll second.
Moved and second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
There is some action, Barb. We're getting ready to talk about it.
So I've got an employment contract that I've drafted between, or that we've had drafted between myself and my office and Justin Meeks, who applied for the assistant county attorney position. And after discussion review, I'd like you guys to approve this contract.
Okay.
I'll put that before you.
Just to be clear, he's a part-time position at $40,000.
And this is again identical to the contract that the prior assistant county attorney had.
Right. And this is, yeah, the prior one.
Yeah.
And go over, while we're getting ready to talk about this, you was hired or elected and it says part-time. Explain that, because I think a lot of people don't understand why we call you part-time, but you work full-time.
So part-time doesn't mean 20 hours a week or 15 hours a week, whatever. It means that I do the job. It's my obligation to do the job to as much time as it takes to complete it. All that means is that I have the capability of having some private practice on the side, as long as it's not conflicting with this. My predecessor had that same arrangement. He had a private practice on the side. The predecessor before him had an arrangement for private practice on the side. And that's all that means is part-time, is that I do this job, but I have the capability of taking on some work outside my obligations to the county.
Okay. And we're getting ready to approve or disapprove this, but the prior county attorneys have in the past, one of them has used one like this.
Yes. So for some context, first of all, yes, you're correct. My predecessor had an assistant with virtually identical language in that contract. So there's precedent for that. In addition, I looked at my numbers here in Linn County versus other counties in our district, Miami County and Bourbon County. We have about 82 to 85% of their caseloads. Miami County has four full-time attorneys on staff. Miami County has 4 full-time attorneys on staff. Bourbon County has 3 full-time attorneys on staff. And so at this point, I don't think it's unreasonable to have a part-time county attorney with 85% of that caseload. And again, my experience having worked this at this point and what I've seen, I think that there's very much a need for that. And I hope, someday, we may get to a point where that could change if we get clear out a lot of the backlog and we're only dealing with cases that have been filed in the last, 6 to 8 to 9 months or so, then that could change. And that would be my hope and goal. But as we sit today, our numbers are just so, and I think there is a need for that.
And
Also, I think one of the things is this will make it very, very rare to have a special prosecutor.
That's true. So the other advantage is we should always have coverage on a day, so we won't have to have someone step in just for a day who doesn't have background with the case, who doesn't have authority to dispose of the case, who doesn't really know what's going on, really just continue things out, waste everybody's time, create more of a backlog than we've already got. This is something where each attorney will have authority to deal with those cases in whatever way they see fit, and know what's going on, have some contact with the officers or the victims, and can make intelligent decisions and we kind of keep things moving.
Yeah, and I will say that I voted no on this last time. And then after looking at how many times special prosecutors or whatever stood in for past county attorneys, I didn't realize how many actually were filling in on what days, and it didn't really seem like it would do justice for the county itself if the county attorney couldn't be there and they just hire somebody to pop in and get a continuance or whatever else.
And frankly, it can be more expensive to the county to pay people to pop in and out over the course of the year than just to have an attorney on staff.
And I might jump in on the requirements and saying a position might be part-time when we know what you meant was having your outside business. There's no requirement on any of us that are elected to be there from 8 to 4:30 as long as the job gets done that your office is responsible for. And like with mine as an example, I could come in the office once a month and sign a bunch of things, and I'd still be meeting my statutory duties if the jobs were getting done. Now, I'm not going to do that. And, the three of us that are in the old building that are elected, I'm in there a lot on weekends.
Oh.
Janet's come in on the weekend to work with me on things. Christy's there early or late a lot of days. We all come in and take care of things, but there is no hourly requirement for any of us.
And maybe just for some more information, I can represent to you, I've worked at least 40 hours a week, every week that I've been in here so far. I think more on these tasks. And in fact, I mentioned to you earlier, I'm working on communication with the departments. One of the things I mean by that specifically is, I'm trying to get us to a position where if somebody is arrested on charges that they have charges on file within 48 hours. That's very typical, maybe overwhelmingly common all throughout Kansas. That's the way that's done. And it hasn't always been the way we do it in Linn County. Sometimes the county attorney's office would apply for something to allow someone to allow the sheriff to hold them for a longer period of time, to give them time to get charged on file. I've never liked that practice, and that's something that I wanted to do away with this office, is if someone gets arrested, we get the charges on file within 48 hours or they're released. And so I'm working with my office and the sheriff right now to make sure that I have the capability that if someone gets arrested on Friday evening, our 48 hours will be up Sunday evening, that I'm available on weekends to be able to review those affidavits and get something drafted and before a judge before that 48 hours is up. So I'm working hard to increase my own workload in that way. So.
Okay.
So you said Miami counties twos are full-time, that they cannot have an.
So I guess I don't want to speak for sure because I don't know what all their contracts are, but when I say full-time, I mean 40 hours a week. Their primary county attorney, their head county attorney, that person is full-time, as in that person I don't believe has the capability of doing anything outside that position.
Okay.
So you got any questions? I don't. Any more questions?
I don't think so.
So, I'll make a motion that we enter into a contract, and this is a open-ended contract. We can terminate at any time.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's what I read too. To hiring, Justin Meeks at a salary of $40,000 a year. That's my motion. As an assistant county attorney, is that what we're talking?
Assistant county attorney.
Yeah.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
I got a question for you. I've had a lot of people come up to me ever since I've been here, and they say that getting a restraining order in Linn County is non-existent. Can you explain what the process, what they need to do?
Okay, so that's a little bit outside my office, but essentially, a restraining order is the district court clerk will have a packet of information that someone, if they are seeking a restraining order, can go and fill out, or I think that's online if Kansas Judicial.
Who assists them during the weekend if they have something that they think they need that to happen?
You didn't get your own attorney to help you with that.
You do.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
No,
Again,
I know, but I didn't know if there's somebody out there who's afraid for their life and they wanted a restraining order. What do? Call the sheriff's department?
You go to the sheriff's department and seek assistance there.
There's a process for it.
Because it's kind of misleading, because a lot of people will say, your county attorney won't do anything, you can't get a restraining order. And that was my understanding too, because I've asked that question before. I didn't get wasn't too clear with.
So restraining orders are civil actions, and as a county attorney, I deal with the criminal actions, not civil actions. So again, that's outside the scope of my office. Where the county attorney would step in is if there's a violation of a restraining order. If the judge orders that, and then whoever is restrained, it violates that order, then it becomes a crime. It becomes criminal. I'd step in at that point. But just the process of obtaining one, again, is a purely civil action.
So they go to the annex over here
or get their own attorney or whatever. And this would be a question for Kevin, I guess, but kind of talk to you. I know that Kevin specifically set this up now where he's got his foyer to the building he's in has a locked door. You can walk in the entry area, but it's locked. And I think and again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think part of what he had in mind is exactly what you're talking about, where someone, it feels like they're under threat and they need to get help, then they can get in the sheriff's office, and then there's some security that they're in there and somebody can't just follow them in. And
Right.
so, but again, that's a little outside the scope of my office.
And I just wanted to be clear, because there's a lot of people that think that you're in charge of all that.
No. Again, just the enforcement of them, but not the
If
obtaining.
it's ever broke, then they have to deal with you.
That's correct.
Okay, you got anything else?
I don't think I do.
Anybody? Nope. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. See you guys next week.
Your turn, Gary.
All right. First of all, I've got some aerial photographs of the site out here. They're about a week old now, but I thought you might want to see it.
We got 4 walls up.
Just for your information. We had a petition to close the road from us last week. This was 2100 road, beginning at Yancey, running east to the state line.
Right.
I have prepared what we call proposal to vacate the road. I think David gave you a copy of it in your packet. Is that right?
No, I have it here.
Oh, okay. All right. And what happens is we publish this notice, which says we are considering doing this.
Okay.
We publish the notice once, we send it by certified mail to everybody who is along that portion of the road. And then I set the hearing for the 22nd of February. There's no statutory time limit, but the 15th is a holiday. And so I just set it for the next week.
Okay.
22nd of February at 10 o'clock. And the notice reads Yancey Road to the state line. If after the hearings you decide you want to close all of that, you can close all of it. If you decide you want to close some part of that, we can do that. You're not committed to the whole thing.
Okay.
So if you're still wanting to move forward on that, we just need a motion to approve the proposal to vacate road and publish it. But by approving it, we're not vacating anything yet. We're just giving notice that we're considering vacating.
Okay. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
This is everybody?
He missed it.
Here, who made the motion or seconded?
Rick, Danny, second.
I gave him my copy.
And last week, we made the decision on that, out there on Tucker Road, didn't we?
That's it.
Out there by Frankenstein's, that road? Okay.
Give me that.
Hey, you got it.
Oh, he, okay. I'm
I
sorry.
don't think you actually made a decision on that.
Oh, we haven't made anything yet.
At least court, but I did spell out what your various options are. I didn't go away with notes that say confirm them in a decision. But you got the following, now I'm talking about the.
I know, I went by and looked at that. I know
Okay,
what
you've
you're talking
seen it
about.
now.
Yep.
I got some photographs here that might be useful to you. I think I brought.
What'd you think? I mean, what'd you think of it?
This is
Looks
where
like
the
we
gate's
need
on
to
our
keep it.
property.
I mean,
Right, yeah.
as far as leaving the gate there, I mean,
Let me show you first of all, here is the tract we're talking about. The road is all on us. I don't know if you can see that or not. The road, the gate is here on us, okay? And then I have some photographs. If I can get them peeled off here.
so we own all the yellow.
We own everything in yellow.
So he just fenced it off and used the state right away.
Well, the state they put there and he just, yeah, that's right. Here's the gate situation. What the gate looks like. And see, it's on us. This gate is all on, the gate is entirely on us. The fence that, runs from that gate runs down through here, and it's kind of hit and miss in some spots, as I recall.
So even though that's a state fence, and if we say we allow him to, but we, deem the road low maintenance, do we require him to upkeep that fence since he's utilizing that fence if he has
Well,
cows?
if he's gonna use that for calf, he's gonna have to. 'Cause,
Okay.
I mean, we wouldn't have to require it, because he put these cows out there now, they're gonna be out of
Right.
height.
Okay. Which Jackie, did,
It's not tied to the fence. The fence, or the gate, the fence aren't tied together through the gap. He would have to.
which did he, I can't remember, did he talk to you about putting cows out there? Or was that, okay. But the main reason was to keep trespassers out because they were, full of driving down there and dumping trash.
If you look at it, it looks natural. So I think he just did research. It looked natural.
I don't think he was being,
Right. Solved it.
yeah, committing any theft or that he did, it looked like that's where the.
Yeah,
property goes.
and we kind of told him that, he bought a piece of land, then he bought it from Clarkson, another piece, and
Right. And this piece that we own is around 5 acres. This says 5.9 on this one. I saw another description of it that said 5.3 or something. So we do have a description
Did
of
that
it.
road go on east at one time or what? I mean, when it rounded around down there and then went east, did it ever?
I don't think so. I think they built that road
to scrape the top.
just for the purpose of getting to that track.
Yeah, Clarkson owned at the very end of it, they owned that back there and they scraped all the topsoil off of it and used it for that bridge and stuff over there.
So that road didn't exist at all before they built the highway.
So did we have to pay for that culvert when it went in?
No, that was put in by them when they built the state highway.
So when Clarkson owned that land, did they own that culvert and everything?
No, because their property's on the other side of the road. That's all ours.
Okay.
So here are your options. You can declare it minimum maintenance and do some kind of agreement to allow him to go ahead and gate it at on our property and essentially use our 5 acres. That's one option. Second option, you can declare it minimum maintenance or not and require that any gate be on his property. That means it would have to be down at the end of the road. If he had to fence off our road, not include any of the yellow part, and put a gate down at the end of the road or somewhere else. Third option, you can close the road.
We're giving up all rights to it?
If you close the road, no, we still own the land. If you close the road, then you solve the problem of people getting in there. But then you can either then selling the land or not selling the land. That's up to you. But you closing the road is really to be thought of as a separate thing from selling the land.
So the difference between minimum maintenance and closed, I mean, in minimum maintenance, we have to take care of that road?
Minimum maintenance, that's still a county road. We close it, then it's just our property, but it's not a county road. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, it does.
But we can make a minimum maintenance on Lime to have the gate there.
You can make it minimum maintenance, keep ownership of the land, allow him to have the gate there, but if you do, keep in mind, you're essentially letting him use that 5 acres. If you let him put a gate there on the natural fence line, but don't sell him the land, you're saying, yes, we recognize this is county's 5 acres, but we're letting you use it. We want to make sure that we have all that in writing if you do that, because there's such a thing as adverse possession.
Right.
If he would use it without some kind of written permission for 15 years, then he could make a claim.
Sure.
So anytime, like, say that we need to do something in there and that fence is in the way, we really have the right to go in there and just tear that fence out, do what we need to do, and then, is that,
As long as we own the land,
okay?
but yeah. That's, as long as we own the land, that's really our fence. Now, part of the agreement to letting him put a gate on us would be that he'd have to maintain the fence. You know, but, or you could do nothing, just like get your gate out of there.
Right.
All right, so you've got lots of options, and there's,
Where do you think, I mean, with you being where do you think?
well, all of them are legally doable and
Right.
enforceable. I don't know, I have a little bit of problem with the idea of just saying, oh, that's our 5 acres, go ahead and use it.
Well, somebody else will too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a little problem. I'd almost rather see you close the road and sell him the land than do that. That's just me though. I got nothing against
And then we
him.
have no way of getting back in there to their,
You know, you look at that thing, that map. Look at that map there. We don't own this land. I mean, we've got a lot of right of way here. If we need to get down here to this ditch, we're probably gonna come down this right of way anyhow.
let me see.
Is that from the highway that
Yeah,
they give it
on
to
the
us after
highway.
that? Is that how we got it?
See, this is the big,
That's, Railroad,
viaduct,
yeah.
here, railroad viaduct. If we have to get down here and work on this, we're probably not gonna come down through here. Cause he owns this land, we're gonna come down this right away, looks to me like.
If we chose to close the road and sell the land, we have to allow other people the opportunity to buy it?
I think that we would presume that, I think we ought to offer it for auction.
Okay.
Or for.
So does that, even though there's 5.9 acres, does that include the right of way? What's the right of way,
No,
like
it doesn't
70
include
feet
the
off the
right
road?
of way.
Oh, it doesn't?
You know that?
the right of way of that road. It isn't.
See, it doesn't include the highway.
Oh, okay.
See.
Includes the right of way. of the-
I thought it was,
What we're
yeah, I thought it was all
talking about
that.
is all on us. All of that right of way is on us. But the highway right of way is not.
Okay.
Can you think of a reason why we need, if we wanted to make that choice, why we would want to keep that 5 acres?
I don't really see a reason. Do you, Jackie?
Only it's that drainage is at the foot of the slope.
Yeah, but come here and look at this and see. I mean, there's the ditch is right here.
And if that ditch were to start encroaching back onto here, then
I mean, can we put something in the letter, in the wording saying, hey, this is
that's probably why KDOT did it that way, in case that, there's a pretty
But
good ditch
they
down
do
through there.
strange things anyway.
Yeah, there's a pretty good ditch right there. And if it were to start impacting the right of way, because it's a slope, then you've got that at the bottom.
Okay.
So I don't really have
What's your thoughts on
an
it? Jay?
opinion to offer.
Let's think about it a little while. What do you think?
I don't think,
You guys have thought about it longer than I have.
if it's of no value or very little value to us and we've got a gate there now, the opportunity for that individual to buy it or somebody else and get it off our books, why do we need it? If there was a reason to keep it, then I understand that, but
If
nobody can really
Goes
think
to
of it.
nothing of ours. I can see what you're
there's no
saying.
development that can be made on it.
Yeah,
And my deal is, we told him that if he bought the Clarkson land, that he'd be able to put the gate there. Was that,
No.
then how come
He just did
The
it.
petition, we never made a commitment.
but somebody told him that if he was to buy that land down there for Clarkson, that we'd,
I think what was told him, I didn't tell him.
I told him, I'm the one.
But I think what was told him was, we can't let you put a gate down there as long as somebody else owns that land.
Yeah.
Which is not the same thing as saying, if you buy that land, then you can put a gate there.
but
Because the fact is, if somebody else had to get down to that land, he couldn't get it.
all right, let's think about this next week and come to a solution next week.
Okay.
All right?
Did you want to, David, did you want to go through that Gordon Park sign thing?
Yes.
Okay. David has the information on this.
All right. I received a request from, find his name here. Kirk Sharp with the Gordon Parks Museum. And they would like to put up a sign out here in front of the courthouse. They're putting some of these up in various locations around Bourbon and Linn or historical sites. And since our courthouse was used in the filming of Learning Tree, they would like to put this sign up front of the courthouse. It has the QR code down the corner where people can scan that and get information. This is a mock-up of what the sign would look like, and this picture is what they're planning.
they utilized the courthouse in a movie?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that was,
Remember that.
oh yeah, that was before I was even born, 1989.
But But, he contacted me a while back about this. He came up and took some pictures. Like, I think that's where the exterior and interior, the old courtroom pictures came from on this, or ones that he took when he was up here.
I like that courtroom.
Me too.
And I don't know, Gary, on legally any opinions on doing any of this, but I have some permission and release forms, if this is something you guys want to look at doing, that we need to sign to get it started. He did tell me that in Bourbon County, on a couple places where they put some up, it was on county property, the county actually installed the sign because they would rather do it that way than having somebody else put it in on their property, but I think they're open to whatever direction you want to go with something like that.
I remember at one time, Gary, that we had, I mean, there was an issue of putting signs out there. It's
That
not
was
the
a different
same, it's
situation.
not the same thing, right?
I mean, this would be something that we, are acting to install ourselves. We can put our own signs up, and essentially they're doing a contract with us. That's one of the reasons why it would be good for us to install it. It's our sign, basically, and we may not own it, but we're.
So is it just telling people kind of that the courthouse was utilized as a scene?
Right. What they have designed is a tour where you go to this place that was involved with the Gordon Park thing and get the information. Then you go to this place, and then you go to this place, and it's part of the
So
tour.
it's not like an advertisement to try to persuade someone to go in a certain direction or anything like that?
No, it's just, it's saying, here is something of interest about this courthouse, it's historical. Yeah, I think this sign itself is a little busy for me, but then they didn't ask for my artistic eye.
Yeah, and I don't think this is necessarily a final design on it, but it's what they have mocked up at the moment. So it'd be something along those lines.
This is different than the other thing was somebody else putting in, political signs or persuasive signs. This is something different than that. This is us allowing a historical sign to go up. Just like the one in front of the courthouse now, it talks about the history of.
It's back to the land deal. If we do sell that land, what process do you have to do in that deal?
I think we would want to do a similar process. We don't know what its value is.
Right.
And therefore, we would want to just
Do the same.
act as though it's going to be more than that, in case it is.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think about that? You have a problem with it?
No, I think it's pretty good.
I don't know.
So can you actually tell it's the link?
If we got it, if nobody decide they don't want it 5 years from now,
Yeah.
we're in charge of taking it down if we do it.
So we need a motion on that?
Well, if it's something you're interested in doing, we actually have two forms here. One of them is a photograph and video waiver and release form, where it talks about using the images, which a couple of the images are on here of the courthouse and an interior scene. And then the other one is a tourism sign permission form. So
What's that allow them to do? Just,
grants the Gordon Parks Museum
When they did this?
permission to install a sign on the property. Sign will be placed in an agreeable location near where the actual filming was located, will not obstruct the view of or interfere with the official traffic control devices or obstruct the view from the highway. They will be responsible for maintenance and upkeep of the sign and responsible for organizing or coordinating the installation and or removal of the sign. And it says, I understand that signs may be removed without notice or changed if they need to be updated or do not comply with the film scene locations.
okay.
Well, they have something, don't they have signs?
Jackie, what do you got?
I have two thoughts on that. One, if there's one somewhere that's basically similar, give a location, I would have to listen to these messages or I'll get an idea. Or the other one, if we're gonna put a new sign out there, we have to put the other sign back. I mean, I think that's bad on us, but next time.
One side?
Yeah, I think that one was probably put in by the Historical Society
Yeah.
50 years
A
ago.
long time ago.
So,
At the wood one, is that what it is?
We haven't done anything with it, it's not our sign, but not a very good representation of the county being in condition.
It might be a good idea to have Jack go find one of these that's already up and just take a picture
Look
of
at
it.
it and see what it looks like.
Because the Park Service was doing that, they had cell phones too. You go up to it, you punch the number.
Yeah, he's looking for a free trip, man. He's,
And it tells you all about it, and then they go to the next site and tell you all about it. But, well, my big thing is that sign and his sign next to each other.
well, probably we need to do something with that sign.
Everybody probably assumes that's the county.
Right. Okay.
You want Jackie to check into some more of
Do
that?
we have a deadline?
In his email, he's talking about wanting to have all of their project done by August 15th.
Oh.
But
What year?
this year. But
So
I don't-
you can wait a week then.
I mean, they probably, oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how long it would take them to get it put up and everything, or,
They haven't, I don't know if they've made the sign yet, so.
yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to wait till the 1st of August. to
Right.
tell them, but, and I'm, probably he's gonna call me this afternoon and see where we're at. 'cause
Okay.
we're
Well,
pushing-
they were very interested, they're gonna have
I'd
the,
like to look into the ones. Can we petition whoever sign that is to have them update?
we can figure out who it is.
Yeah. I mean, we could, if we want to keep the same message, we could develop a sign that looks just like it. But that's an expensive old sign because they engraved them and now they don't engrave, but I would think.
Engraved in the wood, isn't it? Yeah. I've seen that's about all falling down.
I'm not sure if that was the County Historical Society or State Historical Society or if the county may have paid for it, I don't know. That was all long before,
Before you even?
yeah.
Wow. That was a while back.
Around the county like that.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure that out because there's one out there, was out in the woods. Oh, it's awesome. Oh,
1077 up there.
east side of it. It said Old Military Road.
Uh-huh.
Pretty dilapidated, but I don't know.
That's where the old courthouse was, I think. That's when it was out there on 1077 at Wallfinger's ground. That's where the
Oh, okay.
courthouse was to begin with, I believe.
Yeah, I knew they had a couple of them. So while we're waiting on Danny, what's coming up pretty quick is part-time employment. Summer kids, summer peoples. So
Wrote myself notes on that.
How old can they be?
Oil bids need to get out.
how old did you allow last year?
17 if they turn 18 during the calendar year. And still, I think 10, 25, 10, 40 an hour.
Have you talked to the counselors at the schools? That might be somebody just to mention it or send something to. Because I'm sure there's some kids in FFA that would be qualified to do that. They've been operating since they was little kids anyway. We just have to trust them.
Reach a little bit more, but I'll try to see if I can cast a wire.
And we have our general crew and then some part-time equipment operators as well as for us. I don't know if we can find any part-time for road graders or not. I'm just saying.
I did get the resignation for the North Shop mechanic.
Oh, he's done? Okay.
He basically said,
Okay.
yeah, I think if he wants to drive the
Are this year, are we gonna, I know I've asked this before, like the younger people, that's in high school, like they got the work release
That's
program.
what he was just talking about.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we just snacking in there. But yeah, we're working on that.
Okay,
He's working
good,
on it.
good.
No, I'm just messing with you. Hey, what about, did you call the,
Yeah, I'm in contact with them. They're really hard to talk to. I've got a few emails from her. We do need to designate somebody to talk to her, though. I mean, I can talk to her, to get going, but maybe
anyway, I just threw that out there. Nobody knows what the hell we're talking about. Go ahead and tell them.
the preservation company, which is kind of the people that
For the courthouse.
for the historic sites and stuff like that. They're a company called Roslyn Preservation, and they come in and they They put a noose around my neck, make sure I do everything right when I work. And so I've worked with them on a few projects in Kansas City, and they, really good people. They make sure that, everything's back exactly how it is, if it's on the state registry and stuff like that. And they'll actually give you, they'll give you funds, well, the credits is what it is, if you, preserve the
Does that
building.
make sense to us getting credits as a
I
government?
think the only way we get any advantage is selling those credits to somebody.
And I'm not sure how that works with us being a government entity and stuff like that, but they'll explain all that stuff to whoever we,
So what do we need to do? I want to keep
I
the
was-
wheels rolling.
I was in contact with, I believe it was either Cindy or Amanda when I first came in and started talking about this. I mean, when I very first took seat. And I'll look back to my emails to figure that out. I'll talk to one of them if you think they'll be all right with that, David.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how much time we've talked about getting into this, with this company and projects and stuff and what it's gonna take. But
Well, I mean, that's really all it is right now is just to figure out what it's going to take and see if it's something that, even is a viable path for us.
Are they coming out to or something?
They probably will, yeah. They'll probably have to set something up and.
I'm not gonna volunteer for more work.
You're not.
I gave you the Park Service.
So you're pretty familiar with all that then?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk to him instead? I mean,
I think it would be, and I've actually gone to the training, what they're talking about, was 15 years ago, they had it down for the scout.
I don't want the work, but he
I
starts.
don't remember much from it, but they talked.
and I don't know a whole lot about the cards. I'd do the work. I mean, I don't,
It would be through the Kansas Historic.
Society, yeah. Or the national, actually, I think.
They're actually funded by the National Park Service.
Yeah, and I know like in Missouri, I don't know if that's where I do all the work for them, but they have huge grant, like $1 billion grant that, revising all these buildings or.
And I did send in one of the grants, that's how we got the roof fix. Was the grant that I put in from the can. It's a lot of work.
It is a very lot of paperwork.
But if they,
I mean, there's I was looking on this building, in 68, there was awnings on that side of the building and stuff. So stuff like that would have to go back.
and there's some of the stuff on the historic, I don't understand, I don't think it's right. It said it had a red tile roof initially, nobody can find any documentation, but when they put it on the register, they said it had a red tile roof.
Have you read that report?
But if you go up in the attic and you look at the roof, there's cedar underneath that.
Yeah.
roof. Cedar makes more sense for the time period.
And I know these,
Asbestos roof.
the slate tiles are very hard to, I dealt with that one and down here at the yellow building down there. What are they?
Asbestos.
Maybe that one down there's the slate ones.
They are doing a bunch of synthetics now that are supposed to simulate that, but since it's on the register, you got to go to the state
To get approval, yeah.
So
Which that's what rosin does too, is they kind of foresee all that or oversee all that stuff. So I'll get in contact with her. She
you're,
sent me an
you're
email.
going to get in contact with her?
And then I'll deal with her and Jackie and we'll kind of get set up on that.
You can see a lot from the attic looking up.
What about the agreement with Pleasanton on the community center?
They're good. I met with them at their city council. They're now we just need to have that new lady reach out to Erica Kern or
The new lady,
the new lady at what's her name?
Leslie
Leslie.
Rocker.
And, get the restaurant license or whatever it is taken care of. And yeah, they're 100%.
We need an agreement though.
So just,
Verbal high five is not going to work.
so do we write that up or do
Yeah,
they?
Gary can do something.
Okay.
I'm looking at 40 handshake agreements.
Gary, can you, Danny went to the Pleasanton meeting about using the community center. Can you get a memorandum of agreement or understanding together? Erica, yeah, I seen in the paper or something. I don't remember. Yeah.
And all the contents inside that building, I mean, obviously we're not getting rid of it right this second.
What's that? Some of that belongs to them and some of it belongs to us. So there is an inventory list.
Yeah, but I think,
A majority's probably ours.
I think almost all of it, I've been loaning it to the sheriff as his stuff comes out of there.
Yeah.
But we've got barcodes and all this stuff.
Do you know if there's any regulations of, like, do they have to have a refrigerator over there that's designated just for them or anything like that? Do you know?
I don't know for sure. Because they're doing something totally different now. We used to prepare the meals there.
Right.
Now we're not preparing any meals, they're just shoveling them out as they come in.
But the emergency, what do they call
The table, maybe,
No, the emergency ones for,
Frozen ones?
yeah,
yeah, no, the ones for if the power goes out and they can't deliver them, or they have COVID in their
Right.
office. What do they call those?
I don't know.
I wonder if they need some kind of special refrigerant or something.
Were they willing to provide anything or let us
Well,
bring
I
anything?
did talk to him about that, but I know there's refrigerator and stuff in there, but I didn't know if we had something in that building that we could provide and put over there just for that, or what we needed to do.
We have freezers and stuff over there. I just don't know if they want them in that building, so we'd have to get that worked out with them. Because I know they do frozen meals a lot.
What do they, I forget what they call meals for standby on emergency.
Yeah,
Amen.
Like MREs.
they are.
Chef meals.
Yeah, shelf stable,
Yes.
but they prepare them all there and freeze them up in Ottawa and bring them down.
So we have to move the freezer.
We just, maybe and maybe not, because they deliver them the same day. When they take out the hot meal, a lot of times they'll only visit that place, that site, maybe once.
Last week and ask her.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll say-
Yeah.
give her a call.
and the restaurant stuff.
Her is, if they go into that space, are there any appliances they will need?
Okay.
And then the restaurant license, tell her not to do it yet because we don't have an agreement signed, but it will happen. Sounds like. And then we'll obviously need a key at the time to get in and out of that building or that room or whatever. it
Who
is.
is, who's in charge of that? Is it the manager of that site in Pleasanton? Do you know? Anybody know?
I don't know the name now.
Is that how they do it?
Changed.
Yeah, they have that.
They hired them.
For a couple hours a day.
Mhm.
And she's on their payroll.
Mhm. Yeah.
She cleans and just kind of oversees.
Yeah.
We do the heavy cleaning when something needs to be done, but for the most part, they clean, they disinfect it. Thing like Bunker Hill, if Bunker Hill's not clean and not self-safe, well, and when they're doing deep cleaning,
We can get a key and let Danny go down and log it every day.
You guys be.
I'm all for it. All right. Has anybody got anything else? Make a motion, we adjourn.
So.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
I'll take your brain.
I got some for you here too, Rich. Where did you get away?
They said it might take up to 30 days, but,